Oh, right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Raiders Daily. My name is Jackson, and the pads are officially on. Raiders football is back. Football in general is back. The Hall of Fame game starts up just 4 days from now. It feels awesome, and I know you guys are hyped as well. You know who is getting me hyped, and pretty much every Raider coach, every Raider fan right now? The rookies. The rookies are impressing, specifically Jacorian Bennett has been gaining so many positive reviews because a couple of days ago he was guarding Mr. Philip Dorsett, who is extremely fast. Keep in mind, Jacorian Bennett, fourth round pick, cornerback out of Maryland. The thing is, he's super fast too. He ran a 4.43 40-yard dash. One thing I've really noticed with this Raiders team compared to last season, I think there's a lot more juice on this roster. I think there's a lot more burst. I think there's more playmakers, more big play opportunities are going to be shown this upcoming season. But before we get any further into today's video, if you guys enjoy it, be sure to hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily Raiders content. I appreciate all the love on my Raiders videos the last couple of days. Let's try and get 250 likes on today's video because we are trying to hit 10,000 subscribers by the start of the regular season. So, I think the narrative in the last couple of days has been, some Raiders players have not looked the best in camp, and I just want to remind everybody it's training camp. All right, the pads just went on. People are going to be rusty. People are going to be kind of working themselves into game shape. Most of them are going to be in good shape, obviously, but getting yourself into NFL game shape, it takes time, man. Things take time, especially there's so many young players on this Raiders roster that it's just going to take time to get that chemistry going and just build that rapport with your teammates, right? So speaking of the defense, which Corian Bennett, who I think he, by the end of the regular season, will be a full-time, undisputed starter in the Raiders secondary with Marcus Peters, the ball hawk as well. His leadership has already been demonstrated in the short time he's been with the Raiders as well. But speaking of the defense, Byron Young. So Byron Young, third-round pick, defensive tackle out of Alabama. I absolutely love this pick. I think it's going to be more of a long-term, oh, wow, let's go move, as opposed to this year. I think he's going to impact in burst, right, as a lot of rookies do. The thing with Byron Young is already what we saw at Alabama and just kind of his skill set is he's a great complementary run defense specialist. And this should be music to every Raiders fan's ears because teams ran and ran and ran as much as they wanted to last season against this Raiders defense. The Raiders were 23rd in yards per carry allowed. Not a great statistic. So Byron Young is basically going to be a perfect complementary run defensive specialist. But long term, you're still very high on him. The first two draft picks, Tyree Wilson and Michael Mayer, we've talked a lot about both of these cats. My big thing with Tyree Wilson is I don't want him to be limited in any sense. You're young, you're hungry, you want to get out there on the field, you're a rookie, but this is the stance the Raiders will take. You got to play it safe. You just have to play it safe. But once Tyree Wilson steps onto the field in the regular season, he is going to be perfect with Max Crosby and Chandler Jones on those edges. Defensively, Amari Burney, you guys know how big I am on him, but let's move to the offensive side of things. Some things that have really stood out in the last couple of days. First off, Tre Tucker's speed. We've talked more this past week. We were talking about Hunter Renfrow's future on the Las Vegas Raiders. I don't know what Hunter's future is. All I know is Hunter is currently on the Raiders as our slot receiver. I'm happy because Hunter Renfrow, when he's healthy, last time we saw a healthy Hunter Renfrow, we saw over 100 catches and over 1,000 yards, and he pretty much cemented himself as one of the at least top 5 slot receivers in the National Football League. But injuries last year, just the hype train is gone. So we know how good Hunter is when he's healthy and on the field. Tre Tucker is slated to be not even a starting wide receiver, more of a long-term play. You get a bunch of wide receivers in every NFL draft who are going to make a day one impact, and I think Tre Tucker is going to be that perfect player. This guy's so fast, man. A 4.4 40-yard dash. We go back to speed. Him and Philip Dorsett, I just love the speed on both sides of the ball that the Raiders really focused on, whether that was free agency or in the draft. Finally, Jimmy G. it's one thing I'm really liking right now is Jimmy G's leadership. The thing is, we knew Jimmy G had great leadership abilities. The thing is this, all right? Here are the facts. Last season, Josh McDaniels and Derek Carr did not really seem like they were seeing things on the same lens, right? Didn't really see like they were eye to eye with the important things. A lot of things, really. Your offensive coordinator, your coach, and your quarterback, they have to have a good relationship. You cannot argue that. They have to have a good relationship. And so, like I said, facts are facts. Derek Carr, Josh McDaniels does not seem like they really got along. Jimmy G, Josh McDaniels, Jimmy G, and the rest of his teammates, so many of these veterans, Devontae Adams, Chandler Jones, Max Crosby, every single veteran, coach, player on the Raiders right now who has been asked about Jimmy G and his impact thus far, they have said nothing but praise. Nothing but praise, okay? Your quarterback's your leader. Your quarterback's the most important player on the field. The offensive line has a very important task next season, and that is to keep Jimmy G upright. That is to keep him clean, keep that jersey clean so we can prevent injuries. Jimmy G is healthy. If he is on the field, we know the impact he's going to make off of the field. The impact he's going to make on the field, I think, he's a starting quarterback in the National Football League. He's a proven winner. I don't care if you think he was led by his coach, if you were led by his defense. I don't really care, because at the end of the day, the quarterback is still the quarterback, and the quarterback is still the most important player on the field. I don't care if you have the best defense anybody has ever seen, ever in the history of any football league ever, and you have the best coach of all time. I don't care. Your quarterback still has to make throws. Quarterback still has to make plays. He still has to limit mistakes. He still has to lead by example. He still has to be the vocal leader. There are so many things outside of just, being the quarterback and throwing balls to being the quarterback, being the leader of your football team. I know this is like kind of a random rant, but he has been making such a strong impression on this Raiders team. All right, the teammates are loving him. And once again, I don't want this to be a comparison with Derek Carr, because his teammate, Derek Carr's teammates loved him as well. Former coaches have loved Derek Carr. But what I am saying is Josh McDaniels, Derek Carr last year, the relationship, it wasn't a thing, okay? Aaron Rodgers, perfect example. I don't think he really... Maybe Aaron Rodgers isn't the best example because he's one of the best quarterbacks of all time. But you know what I'm saying. If you want to win, your culture has to be united. You have to be united as a team. There has to be good rapport. It's like a brotherhood, right? That's the vibe I am getting, and the vibe I am hearing, the vibe I am seeing with Jimmy G on this Raiders team already. And they just put on the pads. They just started training camp last week. So I'm getting really excited, if you haven't been able to tell by these videos. That's it for today. Hit that like button, hit that sub button. Stay tuned for more Raiders camp content. Let's try and get 250 likes. Leave some comments down below. Peace.